Good day, folks. Welcome to Andrew's Life. So, how many of you are renting an apartment and maybe you're paying a crap load of money every month for rent? Or maybe you're paying a mortgage for a house that might be too big. Utility bills might be too high. I mean, now that it's colder outside in most parts of the country, many of you are opening up your gas bill, your electric bill, and you're like, man, holy crap. The utilities on this house are high. Like maybe you bought the house in the summer, and now that it's cold, you're finding out that the utilities are higher than what you anticipated. You're looking around and you're thinking, you know what? I'm gonna have to figure out a way to lower the utility bill. So you get to shutting this door, you shut that door, you shut off this vent and that vent. Before you know it, you done got over half the house shut off. Before you know it, you're not even utilizing half the house. Maybe you got a 2,000 square foot home or even a 1,500 square foot home and you're not even using half of it. So some of you may have in your mind came up with the genius idea of going tiny. You know what? Sell your regular home. Buy a tiny home and put it on some land. And as easy as that sounds, as practical as that sounds, unfortunately, we live in a country to where many of your local governments and even sometimes your state governments won't allow you to do that. Like if you want to have a tiny home and you want to own the land under it as well, you're going to have to move way out in the middle of nowhere to where the job market is going to be crappy at best. There's not going to be a bunch of amenities available to you either. So you're going to so the money that you might be saving on housing by living tiny, you're going to be spending all that money and some on gas going back and forth to work, going back and forth to town for basic amenities and essentials that you need. Because you can't just buy a piece of land in town or a piece of land that's close to town and throw a tiny home on it. I mean, unfortunately, in many, I would say probably in most jurisdictions in this country, you can't do that. So, how do you secure affordable housing? How do you downsize your housing? How do you secure affordable housing, but at the same time live in an area that's decent, an area that's not far from from amenities, an area to where you're within reasonable driving distance to the city, just in case you have to go look for work, which most of you, I'm probably talking about most of you. So how do you live tiny, or how do you downsize your life to where it's more affordable, basically? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you this listing. We're going to talk about it. So let's jump over to the listing. Okay, folks, this little house might be the house for somebody. This house is located in Jonesboro, Indiana, and I'm very familiar with Jonesboro. Now, before I go any farther there, let me tell you a little something about Jonesboro. For starters, I do got a video of Jonesboro on this channel, so if you go on my channel here and you type in Jonesboro, Indiana, I do got a video on this channel about Jonesboro. Now, just real quick, Jonesboro, Indiana is a small town which is located between Gas City and Marion, Indiana. It is located in Grant County. It is about an hour south of Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne will be your closest metro area to here. And Jonesboro in itself, I mean, you do have a few gas stations in town. You have a couple of auto mechanics in town as well. Now, as far as it goes for grocery stores, Uh, you don't have any actual grocery stores in Jonesboro. You have to drive to the city next door in the gas city, or you can drive in the Marion. But there is a little grocery store in Gas City. I forgot what the name of the road was, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But if you're in Jonesboro, Gas City is right by Jonesboro. And I would say within maybe 10 minutes of this house, you can be at a grocery store, the one in Gas City. And if you go into Marion, you got Walmart, you got Myers, and there's a whole bunch of other amenities in Marion. So this house is not far from amenities, not at all. So with that being said, let's take a look. Now, for starters, they're asking $65,000. This house was priced at 67. It's been on the market for 35 days. So anybody that wanted to buy this house, if I were you, I would negotiate a little lower than 65. Maybe negotiate down to, I don't know, 50. Or if you got the guts, 45. I mean, this house, it's not big. It is older, built in 1938. It's got a two-car garage. And I'll get to the pictures in a minute. I just want to point out some of the important stuff. Okay, here's the description. Charming and cozy bungalow, cute 2-bedroom, 1-bath home offers affordable living with great updates, including a new metal roof and newer carpet. Enjoy the fully fenced yard, perfect for pets. Y'all can read the rest of that stuff. I ain't gonna read it all. I mean, it's moving ready apparently. I mean, it looks like this house may have been recently renovated, which that could be a good thing. That could not be a good thing. Like I told you guys before on some of my previous videos when I discussed real estate. I mean, generally, to be quite frank with you guys, I don't put a lot of faith in renovated properties. I mean, so if you choose to buy this house, obviously go ahead, hire yourself a good home inspector. I mean, don't pick a home inspector that your agent suggests you to pick. Pick your own home inspector. And let me give you one more piece of advice when it comes to picking a home inspector. Pick a home inspector that is not in the area. So if your agent tells you, here's a list of home inspectors. Now, nine times out of 10, all the home inspectors in this case are going to all be in Grant County. Don't mess with none of them. What you do is you hire a home inspector that is out of, let's say, Fort Wayne. Or you hire a home inspector that might be, let's say, in Madison County, which is a county south of Grant County. Just FYI, if I would give that advice. I take my own advice when it comes to home inspectors. I do it all the time. I never hire a home inspector that's in the immediate area. I try to look for a home inspector that's in one of the neighboring areas. That way they're not going to be in cahoots with the agent or any of the local businesses. But anyways, let's keep going. Now, the lot size is not real big. The lot size is not even 5,000 square feet. The house itself, it's a little under 770 square feet. It's 768 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 2-car garage. And let's look at let's see here. Okay, this house is on a slab. So again, FYI, a slab could be a good thing. It could also be a terrible thing. Now, if the house is on a slab, that generally means that the plumbing is going to be in the walls. So if you have to have new plumbing work done, your plumber is going to most likely have to tear into the walls to get to the pipes. So bear that in mind when you buy a house sitting on a slab. And honestly, I didn't even look at this before I began to record. I was assuming it was on a crawl space, but it's on a slab. Like I said, that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. Like if the slab has got a crack, that's gonna mess with the entire structure of the house. FYI. That's why I want to hire a good home inspector that knows their stuff. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else important. Y'all can look at this yourself too. I'm just going through and pointing out some of the important stuff that y'all need to know. Especially for those of you that are watching me and maybe you're a first time home buyer. This house could be a excellent alternative to tiny home living for those of you that still working 9 to 5 and plus need to be within close proximity to amenities. Let's see here. And I'll tell you right now that Jonesboro, it's a quiet little town. You know, there's next to no crime that happens there, at least not violent crime. So it's a quiet little town, you know, not a bad place to live at all. I mean, there's people that might move there from Marion because they want something smaller and quieter compared to, let's say, Marion. So if they're not moving to Gas City, they might move over here to Jonesboro. It's still active. Now the annual taxes, they're stating it as $224.74 a year. Now, if you buy the house and you're gonna be living in this house, that number could be accurate. But if you're buying this house and you're gonna use it as an investment property, then I would take this number and double it. Not because I'm gonna just go ahead and assume. And also, this number might be completely off because sometimes you might have a senior citizen own this house and they get additional discounts. So before you buy this house, make sure you call the city hall and ask them what the no, let me back up. Make sure you call the county and ask them what the property taxes are. You know, try to get an accurate number because this number might be accurate. It may be way off. You never know on these MLS listings. So, and again, FYI, do your due diligence. Okay, let's see. Here's your sale history. This you want to be familiar with the sale history because this is going to be your weapon when it comes to negotiating the price of the house. Now, you can negotiate. The seller might be like, no, they're not going to come down any. They might try to play hardball. And if they do, I guess depending on how bad you want the house, you can give in and pay their price, or you can be like, you know what, screw it, I'm walking. It's it's not worth it. Now here's the thing. This house was first listed in August 31st of last year for 59,900. It sold for 50. So whoever bought this house last year, they they managed to bring down the price by about 10,000. Okay, this person, I guess they went through and did some renovations. Again, hire a home inspector and make sure all those renovations have been done correctly, because they could have went through and done a bunch of half-ass work and fucked up everything. Who knows? But anyways, they listed the house as they paid 50. They listed it at 67, and I can almost guarantee the money that they put on renovations was probably they probably didn't put no more than maybe I don't know $10,000, if even that much. And I'm gonna assume, and I could be wrong, but I'm gonna assume this house is most likely owned by an LLC. I mean, because when you look at it, they bought the house. It sold on the 1st of October. And A year later, they listed it. So maybe it was bought by an LLC. Maybe they tried to turn it into a rental and were unsuccessful. Who knows? Maybe it was bought by a private party. Who knows? But anyways, they were asking 67. They lowered it to 2, so now it's 65. Now, anybody that's familiar with Central Indiana's housing market, I mean, it's still fairly busy in Central Indiana. It's still fairly busy. So for this house to have been on the market for over 30 days and they lowered the price, I mean, like I said, negotiate even lower, and then hire hire a good home inspector to inspect the house thoroughly. Make sure you're not, getting ripped off or nothing. And let's see what else you got here. Another important thing to look at is look at the environmental risk. Now, for me, all this stuff about heat, wind, air, fire, I don't really pay much attention to it. The only thing I'm concerned about is a flood factor. Now, in this case, the flood factor is minimal. That's good. That means that means this house will most likely not flood when it rains a lot or it snows a lot. So now that we have been over all that, now we'll look at some pictures. Okay, I'm gonna tell you all right now. This roof looks flat. Now, depending on who you choose to insure your roof, some insurance companies will not insure this roof because it's flat. But maybe they might cut you some slack because it is a new roof. FYI. Okay, here's the inside. And I'm gonna just call this the living room right here. This is one of the bedrooms. I'm assuming that's the other bedroom. Well, here's the other bedroom. I'm guessing. Let's see here. Got your little kitchen. I mean, eyes are deceiving me, but it looks like they threw carpet on the kitchen. I don't get why people put carpet on the kitchen. That is so stupid. And again, FYI, if this is carpet, now for me, when I go into a house and I see carpet on the kitchen like this, like, if the carpet has been recently installed, my antenna goes up super high, because my first question that I have is, what exactly are they hiding? Why didn't they just put down regular linoleum? Why carpet? Especially in an area where there's going to be a lot of moisture from cooking, from doing dishes, such as the kitchen. Okay, here's the bathroom. Again, maybe my eyes are deceiving me, but again, this looks like carpet. Why in the hell would you put carpet in the freaking bathroom? That's stupid. Now, I will give the realtor credit because the realtor did do a good job taking pictures. Because sometimes some of these realtors, they use the cheap flip phone to do pictures. This realtor actually took some good pictures, so kudos to the realtor that took these pics. Okay, here's your washroom. It looks like a good sized room to where you can do your laundry and fold all in the same room. Here's your two-car garage. Well, they say two-car garage, but it's only a one-car garage. I don't know where they got two-car garage. It's only one car, but yeah, whatever. I guess somebody, I don't know, it's one-car garage, not two-car. Let me see here. Let's see here. Now let's go back. give you guys a little street view. Okay, this picture isn't exactly serving a lot of justice here. I mean, it's sandwiched between a couple of bigger houses that appear to be, decent. But, here's what the area looks like. And again, Jonesboro is a nice little community to live. It's quiet. It's not far from larger communities. And like I told you earlier, that, Jonesboro, I mean, that house is not far from basic amenities either. Like I said, when I wish I could remember what that road was called, but I completely forgot. But like I said, it's right by Gas City. It's between Gas City and Marion. So like I said, from that house, within I would say 10 minutes, you can be at any grocery store that you want to be at. All right, folks, that is the house. Now, this house could be a decent. What's that? What I'm looking for? I can't think what I was going to say here. This house could be a decent alternative to buying a tiny house for those of you that have to be somewhere with amenities and you need to be within a reasonable driving distance to a job that pays livable wages. This house could be a decent alternative, which is why I made this video. But at the same time, like I said, do your due diligence, get this house thoroughly inspected, and for anyone that chooses to buy this house, good luck to you. Stay blessed. I'll catch you guys on the next one.